Good morning, guys. Welcome to my channel. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day today. I just want to get on here and just say first, thank you to all my new subscribers. Those of you who have joined, I really appreciate you all. I also want to thank all the subscribers who have been here for a while. You comment, you reach out to me. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. Please feel free to explore my channel, see what I have here. You can go to my playlist. You'll see some topics that I have categorized there. And then you can just watch my videos as they are uploaded. You're also free to share my videos on your platforms if you like. As long as it's being used for the glory of God, I have no problem with that. And then for those of you who just stop by from time to time and you listen, welcome as well. So, as you can see from the title of this video, we're going to talk about a good, clean woman. Now, this is something, I don't know where it originated from, but I've heard it before. There are men that want a good, clean woman. A woman that's been untouched, hadn't been out there. And sometimes they don't mind if she's not a virgin, just as long as she hasn't been around. But for the most part, men want women who have not been too busy sexually, not a promiscuous woman, anything like that. And I would say there's nothing wrong with feeling that way. There's nothing wrong with a man desiring this sort of woman because they do exist, okay? And I remember seeing someone put a comment, and they made a comment about, I don't want any woman that basically has been run through. Let's put it like that. Run through meaning she's had, she's been intimate with a man and claiming to be what is the person saying? Run through and claiming to be renewed virgins through Christ, something along those lines, So, in other words, women who they turn their life over to the Lord, and perhaps now they are being celibate and trying to do things differently. He's saying he doesn't want run through women with claims of being renewed virgins through Christ or Christ-like. They're still basically run down, beat down, okay? Everyone is entitled to their opinion and how they think. And I think when a man is a virgin, I feel like a male virgin who's not a virgin, he may want to experience his first time with someone who is a virgin. I mean, he has kept himself, and he may have his reasons, right? He's a virgin. He doesn't know what he's doing. He may feel more comfortable and has every right to want a woman who is a virgin, and they learn together. Whatever his choice may be, whether it's someone who's not a virgin or is. Such a man, of course, this is understandable for him to want a virgin. Now, no, it's not okay for that man to say, oh, I don't want any run-through woman. It's just that a nice thing to say. But nevertheless, virgin males, because there are men who are virgins out there, and we have plenty of young men growing up who are still virgins, this is understandable. But what is ironic about some men who speak this way, I don't want any run-through woman, I don't want this, I don't want that. They have a lot of bodies. They have a high body count. And what that means is these men are going around and sleeping around with different women. Perhaps back in their day or currently, they sleep with multiple women. They sleep with, at the minimum, 3 women a year, or every year it's a new woman. Every quarter it's a new woman. They are conversating and flirting and having one-night stands. At the very least, throughout their life, they've switched out women who they have either slept with or kissed or in some way fused with them emotionally. Some of the men that are saying this, they have children from different women, or at least a child somewhere. Some of these men that saying they want a good, clean woman are have had one night stands, and these are men who are sitting around at times masturbating. And I don't think men realize how much that opens them up to so many things. Because when a man is looking at pornography, and they may have a certain type they like to look at, so they will get pornography because maybe they like big women, maybe they like stallion shaped women, and by that just real curvy women, maybe they like skinny women, slim women, whatever they like. These men are mentally creating a body count by manipulating their bodies. And then now, after they have downloaded all this stuff from the internet, different positions, different things, they become filthy in spirit. And a lot of times they are now going to go to this woman and they want to try out what they've seen. You find in some marriages, men who have spent a lot of their time watching pornography and watching certain things, they will be bored with their wives. They would eventually try to bring pornography into the bedroom if she allows, or despite being married, they're not completely satisfied, or if they are satisfied, they have to imagine her. He has to start to imagine maybe something, a scenario he's seen in the pornography, or want to do certain things with her to kind of get excited. Or if he cannot get excited by her, he's eventually going to go and find time to watch pornography in order to truly get himself off. So ironically, and yes, I'm talking about men right now, but yes, women do this as well. But this video is not about women. If you look at and if you explore my content, you will see that I keep everything fair. So please don't say, oh, you're just talking about men. Women do this too. I mean, you can write that, but I've already said it. This video right now is addressing men. So there are men who goes out there and they sow their royal oats, as it's been said in the past. And in the society that we're in, it seems to be okay for men to go out there, sleep around, get emotionally attached, or have people who are emotionally attached to them. They have a lot of baggage, they have a high body count, and then now they're looking for that good, clean woman. And so they're like, oh, I don't want anybody that's been around, but you've been around. But the patriarchal mindset and the misogynist world has it where men can go out there and then they become sloppy seconds, thirds, fourths, fifths to a woman, and that is okay. Because truly there is a mindset of, well, as men, we get the clean stuff. We can go around and sleep around, but we want a woman that's untouched. But what about yourselves? What about you? I mean, there can be that talk, the soapbox talk of, well, regardless of what I've done, this is what I still prefer. And that's fine. But the bottom line is, you're still the one that's not clean. You're still the one, if you want to call it that, that has been everywhere. All right? So that mindset, while it may be your preference, it definitely does not apply to you as the male. It's definitely a downgrade for that woman if that is your mindset of a woman who is not a virgin. If she is someone that's run through, or she is someone that is a downgrade and someone you would not want, what about that woman? What does she think? And depending on the woman, she probably doesn't even know how to really think about the matter. But it is just really interesting And in my opinion, it says a lot about those men that think that way. Again, everyone has a right to think what they want to think and to choose what they want to choose. But I feel if you taught the talk, walk it. Those are my thoughts. If you walk it, talk it. You want a woman that has not been with anyone, a woman who has kept herself. You should be a man who has also kept yourself. Because when you are a person that has been sexually active, sleeping around with a lot of different women, a lot of different women has kissed you, laid with you, joined her body to you, has carried out sexual acts on you from the waist down, or you to her, or whatever, just different things. Women that you have entered into every orifice possible in her body. You create a soul tie. So even if you are not tied to her anymore, you have become one flesh with that person. And so years later down the line, if you've slept with 3 or 4 women plus yourself, you are 5 in 1. If you've slept with 7 or more women, 7 to 8 women plus yourself, you're 9 in 1. And so what happens is when you are laying with this woman, you're like a human tarantula, okay? And you a lot of times can create a lot of emotional hurt to that woman because you have been dipped and you have passed your baton so many times to different women that when you get to her, you are so overly sexualized that sometimes you're being so, you think what she wants is, you think she may want things a certain way. And all you have is your point of reference of your past sexual tryst and whatever you've looked at in your downloads on the internet, that's what you present to her. And sometimes that can be painful. That sometimes can be something that's tiring to her. It's not enjoyable, but she doesn't really know the difference because she hasn't been with anyone. And sometimes she just doesn't say anything. So I think every person has a right to choose the type of man or woman that they want to be with. But what's most important is whatever you're looking for, check yourself, check your character, check your credentials, and think to yourself, what I'm asking for, am I that? Have I been that person? Because it's hypocrisy. And I will say to any woman that's out there, sometimes people will make you feel ashamed because of your past, because of your choices. And yes, there are people that even go to church they have that mindset. Men who enter into church who have this mindset. They're looking for a good, clean woman, but then they have been just fusing themselves to a bunch of other women, whether in that church or in another church or in their neighborhood or on their jobs. And so as women, you have to be prayerful and ask God to help you and to open up your heart, open up your mind, and open up your understanding so you have wisdom. Because there are such men that are out there that are doing all these things, and then they come in and you're going to be the prize. But they themselves, they have not kept themselves. They have not presented their body a living sacrifice to God. And so they could come and absolutely ruin your life or eventually make you feel inadequate, because sex is only going to last for so long. And a man that's been out there doing a whole lot of things that have not surrendered himself to God, who scoffs at women who have had experience, that says something about that person's character. And eventually it will come out towards you. Maybe not in the sense of you being around, but ironically, it could be that ironically, the matter could simply be you're not good in bed. He may even bring up who is better than you in bed. But nevertheless, there is a lack of respect For others, hypocrisy, a double standard. And a lot of men do it. It has been culturally okay for men to go out, sleep around, do what they want to do, and then get married. And sow your royal oats, they will say. Get out there and do what you need to do. Spread your seed, right? Minus children if possible, preferably. And then you settle down. But a person that feels like they have to go from flower to flower like a bee, okay, dropping pollen on every petal, that is a character thing. So, sorry. So, even, that was my alarm. So, even if when he settles down, because he has a sexual drive, marriage is not going to stop that. It's a character issue and it's a spiritual issue. So I want to say, the Bible says, who God has cleansed, what God has cleansed, let no man call unclean. And just like Rahab, who was a harlot, who ended up being a part of the lineage of Jesus, how ironic is that? Just like Bathsheba, who ended up becoming the wife of David. If you know anything about David and Bathsheba's story, that was a dicey beginning. But God still blessed her womb, and she brought forth Solomon, the greatest and wisest king that ever, in Israel. So we have to just realize that God is able to give you a second chance. Never walk around feeling ashamed, like, oh, I made this mistake, I made that mistake. And third of all, certain things are nobody's business, ladies. A lot of times what happens is you'll get in the church, you start to just tell all your past and all that you've done. Unless your past is something that if someone gets with you, it can affect their present life. It's something you have done where if you're with a person and let's say you have a criminal record or you have something where if someone is with you, it could affect their life, right? Let's say you owe the IRS and you're getting ready to marry this man. Obviously, when you do taxes with him, they're going to garnish both your returns, and he now or she, if it was a woman, you're a man marrying a woman, it will affect her life. Those are things that you have to get in order and you have to be honest about, and you get that together. All right. But I personally feel like you do not have to tell everybody your business. They don't need to know everything about you. Unless it's harmful. And in some scenarios, yes, you can sit there and talk about it. But be led by God. And women, be led by God in who you choose as a partner. Because there are men out there who has gone all over the world. They have gone on a voyage of the land. And then they come to you wanting something nice and clean, but not thinking you deserve the same if that is your preference. Not saying to themselves, you know what, I've been out there, I've done some things wrong. Repenting to God and changing their habits. Because there are men who's been out there that the Lord changes their heart and they're no longer who they used to be. And when God changes their heart, it's not just a matter of saying, oh, I'm not going to do it anymore, but they actively are taking steps to get rid of those phone numbers, changing their phone numbers, getting rid of those connections, being upfront about things, totally stepping away from it through the guidance and leading of the Holy Spirit. And they can be men who commit and they love you and they care about you. I believe that. I believe that who God cleanses, who God turns around, a person that completely yields to God and say, I don't want to be this player anymore. I don't want to go out there sleeping with a bunch of women, and really get rooted and grounded in the word. They can be changed, and they know and they can realize scenarios where a woman is flirting because they've been out there. A man who's always been around women, who have slept with women, who has had these relationships and emotional banters and physical connections with them, this man knows exactly when a woman is attracted to him. Don't let him fool you. He knows. Okay? But that will be another video. So this man who has now been converted and turned around, he's going to recognize, he's going to know when something is going in a direction that it shouldn't go in. And when he is strong in the Lord, he's going to know to avoid that, cut it off, don't even go there. And he can be a good man for you. Could be a good husband for you. But there are lots of men who are not doing that. They just feel like I could come as I am, and now I want a woman who's been untouched, and they come to you with, they are 10 in 1, they are 30 in 1, they are 80 in 1, and that'll be all the women that they've been with, emotionally, sexually, touch and go, on and off. How fair is that? So those of you who feel this way, it's okay for you to think this way, but look at yourself in the mirror. There are men who want certain things, but they are not it. And a person that desires something that they're not is often called a hypocrite. And with a hypocrite, you're going to find what the Bible calls a double-minded man who is unstable in all their ways. A hypocrite, who the Bible will call a man who is double-minded, is like a man who has no rule over his spirit, is like a city without walls. So imagine a city without walls. Anything can come and go. And often he will be an emotional weight in some cases. Not all, but a lot. Because what he does does not apply to anyone else. And while that is okay, it does speak about the fact, it does give you the impression that he's split in the middle on certain things. He's compartmentalized. Okay? So he can be Dirty Harry in this life, and then over here he has an expectation of wholeness, commitment, that truly in his character he's not. And so while we may talk about the sexual past of this person, what it tells you, you have to look beyond the situation of what we're talking about here. It says something about his character. And his character is going to go beyond whatever he prefers as a woman. It's going to go maybe what he prefers for food, for dinner, when it comes to other people, how he views other people, other women, just in general. That is something about that man's character that is manifesting in the specific situation as far as his preference, but it goes beyond that. And so that is something, ladies, that when there's a man who thinks this way, or he'll eventually say some things to you, you have to have your spiritual ears open. You have to, because a lot of times we have ears, but we don't hear. We have eyes, but we don't see. And that's because you need to listen from a point of spiritual wisdom. What is this man saying? And you're going to know. I can tell you, in the past, people who I've met, and they're asking me, can you cook? Can you clean? What can you make? And I'm looking at them like, well, can you build a house? Can you fix a car? What can you do? But it tells you something. I'm like, guy, I'm not even thinking anything like this. We're having a coffee, or we're having a thing in a cafe or something, or it's amazing. Through my time being in the military, you could just be sitting around with your fellow comrades or just other workers, and a guy would just ask you these outlandish things, because it could happen. For me, there are times that we're on assignment and we're doing certain things and we're together a lot. And so as we're there and we're unpacking or doing something or working on a project together, a guy will ask you something like that. Can you cook? What can you cook? And want you to bring them something. No, that's not going to happen. So sometimes, guys, Ladies and gentlemen as well, by their fruit, you're going to know them. How you going to know a person? And what happens with a fruit? Let's talk about a fruit. A fruit is not completely, does not get ripened. There's stages when a tree's bearing fruit. At first, it brings forth whatever, the apple, let's say, and it's not ready to eat yet. And eventually it will grow, and then it's edible, perhaps. So what it means is the gradual change and manifestation in that person is the fruit, not what they show you initially, but over time is their fruit and what they're consistently being. An apple's going to be an apple's going to be an apple's going to be an apple. Okay? A cherry's going to be a cherry's going to be a cherry's going to be a cherry. So what that person is consistently like is their fruit. Not the moments that they say that they're sorry, not the moments that they switch up because they realize that they're said too much, but who they are consistently, what comes out of their mouth, and what they're doing consistently is their fruit. So pay attention to that, ladies, and ask God to guide you. And gentlemen, whatever your preference is, that is your option. But with that, I always say, look in the mirror. Someone may want a Bentley. They want to drive a Bentley, but they don't have the credit for it. They don't have the finances for it. Maybe they borrowed somebody else's money. They expect somebody else to pay for it. And they do not have the mindset to care for it. So you find that Bentley start to look a mess because of the character of that individual. It will be dirty. They won't wash it. They won't take care of it. They'll be trying to take it to they don't want to go take it to the dealership to get it fixed, because most of these cars, especially today, you need to take it to the dealership. Parts of under the hood of a Mercedes or a Bentley, you can't get under that hood. There's certain parts of it you can't open. You have to take it to the dealership. So they may want it for show, but they are not going to do what it takes to maintain that vehicle. So you see that vehicle eventually begin to deteriorate because of the character of that person. Or they try to take it to some greasy mechanic that does not know how to deal with these high-tech computerized cars. All right, and I use the term greasy mechanic to mean greasy as in shady mechanic, okay? Because I absolutely have I'm not downing mechanics. They're very important. Greasy as in character, okay? And they're trying to jimmy and do some things with a car. Or, of course, it's just for show, right? They'll have this Bentley for show, but their character is just a hot mess. So that is what that's like. They don't really qualify for it. Nothing in their character, their finances, their background qualify them for it, but they want it. They'll find a way to get it. If I have to lie, if I have to do something to get it, if someone has a cosign, I'm going to get that car. But when it's left in their care, they don't have the character and they don't have the ability to actually maintain it. And that is what happens with these types of men. They don't have it in them. They just want a good, clean woman. But their character is non-existent. All right, guys, hope this makes sense. Thank you for listening. And guys, I apologize ahead of time if you heard my stomach growling. I need to go eat. But I want to make this video for you guys. All right.